ugly it may be, 8 turnovers yesterday at Gillette Stadium. There was some rain, there was some snow, but in the end, there was a victory that had Mike Vrabel feeling, quote, better than you, Karen Garigian, and that's where we'll start on a Patriots Monday here on WEEI Afternoons. You know the deal. We're going to talk to Drake May, probably around 2:20. We're going to talk to Marcus Jones, who was one of the defensive players of the game. Yep, all 4 touchdowns in that game, Fitzy. All 4 touchdowns. The guys who scored them, or at least were responsible for them, you know where they'll be? WEEI Afternoons, talking to us idiots on the radio. So Marcus Jones around 3:30. Fitzy, biggest takeaway. Right off the bat, the biggest story from this football game, biggest takeaway is
that the entire world is going to continue to bang the drum of everything breaks Patriots this year, and I ain't apologizing for none of it. What a glorious day. What a glorious week. What a glorious time to be a Patriots fan. And now that Mike Vrabel shares that little nug with us that they did some research on Stid and thought about bringing him back home to be the backup this past offseason, and he turned them down so he could stay in Denver, well, now it's a revenge game. That's it. That's it. He said no to the Patriots. He's going to pay. He's going to pay a mile high in the sky Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern.
So we're going to get to the AFC Championship game. May versus Stidham, just the way the script of the NFL drew it up when they wrote it up last offseason. The second-year quarterback in New England against the former New England backup. What everybody wanted to see, right? The script writers, they didn't want to have Burrow and Allen and Mahomes and Lamar. Nope. We're going to have Drake May become a superstar, and he's going to face off against Jarrett Stidham. We'll get to that. But we are going to break down this win over the Houston Texans. And it's so funny because the talk of the week was how good the Texans' defense is, how good the defensive front is and was in this game. I'm not going to skip past Will Anderson, Donnell Hunter, and those guys were really good. But the talk of how good they are somehow motivated both units on the Patriots. The defense was offended that no one was talking about them being a top 5 type defense in the National Football League. And the offense was offended, Kayshon Boutte and others, that all the talk was about the Houston defense and not the offense in New England. That's a top 5 offense. So I don't know how Mike Vrabel did it or if it came organically, but the fact that we talked about the Houston defense somehow motivated the New England offense and defense, that's some good old school coaching and manipulation right there.
I love the fact also that Mike Vrabel told them not to, ignore the noise. We've said it so many times. I'm looking for a different way to phrase it, but that Mike Vrabel told them, don't watch ESPN, don't check all the predictions and prognostications, and yet they did. And each and every one of them passed around to the other that ESPN, that was NFL Live, went 5 for 5 picking the Texans. That disrespect, as if they needed more fuel, as if they needed more inspiration, as if they needed more reasons to want to win Sunday's game and then punch a ticket to a game that got, I'm going to stop short of saying exponentially easier, but certainly favors them so much so that I think they're up to a 5.5-point favorite now on all of your betting applications. It was just the extra little something. And the fact that Vrabel can laugh about it, I don't know, man. I don't think that guy has pressed the wrong button or pulled the wrong lever or string since he took the job last January 13th. Guy's been on the job for 53 weeks. He's batting 1,000.
He's also the longest tenured coach in the AFC East because, in case you missed it, Sean McDermott was let go by the Bills. And we're going to get into that a little bit later because names like Belichick and Daboll and others are being bandied about in Buffalo, and we'll get into that. But, Fitzy, was yesterday a good football game? Because it was crazy. It might be the most unique football game I can remember in my, get ready for the brag, 26 years around the Patriots in the National Football League. 8 turnovers, 15 possessions for both sides. There was a portion there in the second quarter where it felt a little drunk. It was like, you sure these are playoff teams and like franchise quarterbacks and good young star quarterbacks? Or is this like a tryout for the UFL with interceptions and fumbles and everything? But it was thoroughly entertaining. It certainly wasn't like the Niners and Seahawks where you're like yawning on your couch and just going to bed.
It was literally over at kickoff.
So was that a fun football game in Foxborough?
If you were a Patriots fan, especially if you were there. Was it a good football game? Was it a fun football game? Is that an all-time game? A game that merits rewatching beyond having to study the tape just to make sure you know what you're talking about? Not really. I mean, it was a heavyweight fight. Sometimes heavyweight fights are ugly. Sometimes these guys, they aren't delivering haymakers, and and, knockout punches and, showing the sweet science of boxing off. Sometimes it's just body blow after body blow, and whoever can sustain the most, the longest, and deal them the hardest wins. And that's what happened. The Patriots, we talked about last night in the postgame, they didn't have seven first downs by the end of the third quarter. 4 fumbles for May, 2 lost, 2 recovered, thank God. 907 interceptions roughly thrown by C.J. Stroud, give or take 902. Just a sloppy of penalties and people slipping and falling, the wintry mix. But that's what you're going to get with 2 teams that were just absolutely going after each other as if this were some sort of like tribal vengeance match.
And I think in the end, one of the key separators, at least for the Patriots offense, was your quarterback, however you want to look at it, in this game was either better than C.J. Stroud or less bad than C.J. Stroud.
Both would be true.
Because he made some ridiculous throws. The touchdown to Steph Diggs, ridiculous tight window throw. The throw to Booty, where he makes an even more ridiculous catch, one-handed, was a really nice throw. And he never seemed to get flustered. Right, Drake May was in the midst of, this isn't really going great. Like, I'm kind of putting the ball on the ground a lot, and their defense is legit. He said post-game they lived up to the hype and the stats and everything. But I never felt like he got flustered, whereas C.J. Stroud seemed to get flustered. And there was conversation as to whether C.J. Stroud should be removed from the football game.
I would have.
See, I would not have, because to me that ends your tenure as the franchise quarterback. That starts the whole Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi back and forth, and you have to be comfortable. If you pull C.J. Stroud from the divisional round playoff game, I think you have to be comfortable saying C.J. Stroud is no longer locked in as the franchise quarterback of the Houston Texans. But I did think Drake May, for all his faults, holding on to the ball, we can ask him about it. The pass rush, we can ask him about it. He made some throws that were the difference in you winning and losing that football game. So, I thought that came to fruition in the end and might have been the differentiation.
Yeah, look, there's no denying that, like, on the 2 of the 3 touchdown drives, dude threw lasers, dude dropped dimes. The Booty pass that led up to the Steph Diggs touchdown catch was a brilliant throw and just as brilliant a catch. Kayshon Boutte was responsible for 2 of the 3 best catches. May, I think, only completed, I think he went, 16 for 27 for like $175 and 3 touchdowns, a pick, 2 fumbles. An imperfect stat line, but enough. Look, we have to just be completely transparent here. On a day where Drake May did just enough for the Patriots to win, and in the end win with some reasonable comfort, C.J. Stroud is one of the, like, if you have to pick a 3 stars for the Patriots, C.J. Stroud is star 1 or 2. He was god-awful. He was historically terrible yesterday. The moment was way too big. He's just not a big game quarterback yet. And I felt for him afterwards in his post game when he said, I feel like I let my team and I feel like the whole region of Houston and South Texas down. He kind of did, and that's going to be a long offseason for that kid.